morning. Liz Ann here again this morning. I hope you're doing well today. Today I would like to talk to you a little bit more about regaining your sense of personal power. This is a really important foundation to lay when you are going to embark upon a journey of healing from childhood trauma. Now, healing from childhood trauma is a choice. It's not something that anybody has to do. However, when we remain in the unhealed state, there is always going to be symptoms and after effects that we are going to be dealing with our entire life until we decide it's time to heal. And when I first decided to go on a healing journey, it wasn't until I was in my 40s. As far as I was concerned, I was healed. It didn't matter. It was in the past. I didn't want to look at it. I didn't want to deal with it. However, when I hit age 40, I entered into a different stage of life. My children were pretty much spreading their wings and moving on and didn't need me as much. And I started to fall into deep depression. And with the deep depression, nightmares began to come, and a lot of issues all of a sudden just began to surface from my childhood and really shocked me and surprised me because I didn't even know that it was still there. I think maybe I did, but I didn't pay attention to it. I just ignored it because I wanted to enjoy life, and to me, to go back and look at my past was bringing misery into my present, and it wasn't there anymore, so it didn't make any sense to me. I began to pray about it, and God gave me an analogy that made a lot of sense to me, and I even wrote about it on my blog. But essentially he told me, he showed me that if somebody breaks a bone, like say you break a leg bone, a major bone, and that bone will find a way to heal itself. Whether or not you set it and go to a doctor and have it healed just so, it's going to find a way to at least adapt and heal so that the body can function and move on. But what will happen is if it's not set right and you don't go to the doctor and you don't set that right and it doesn't heal right, you are now going to live with a limp. You're going to live maybe crippled. You're going to have maybe some physical disforming there. And so it's the same thing with emotional healing. It's what I did in the beginning. I let it close up, I let the wound close up, and I moved on. However, I was crippled. I was emotionally crippled throughout my life. And I was frustrated with a lot of things about myself. But I knew a lot of them had its roots from my childhood, but I didn't really know how to deal with it. I didn't know what to do with it. And so I just ignored it and just tried to be as happy as I could and try to overcome it the best I could. But it was always there, these crippling after effects from being raised with severe childhood abuse. And I say severe because I had seen a therapist, and I went in there not even wanting to say it was abuse, and she herself told me that it was one of the most severe cases she's had, and that was after 23 years of being in therapy, of her being a therapist. And so, and now I understand that it was very severe. But a lot of people don't even recognize how abusive their environments were or how severe it was, because they're imprinted to believe and think a certain way about it. And that's, so anyways, God showed me that if I let Him re-break the bone, if a doctor goes in and with a crippled leg and re-breaks the bone and then resets it and then casts it up, then eventually, hopefully, that leg will heal properly and that crippling won't be there any longer. And God showed me emotionally, if I allowed Him to go in with me and open up the wounds again and then set them right, that they would heal right, that I would be able to move through these crippling aspects of my personality. And I won't go into each one of them. Maybe in future videos I'll speak more about different things, but I decided, however, God did make it very clear to me that healing is not easy. That sometimes when you re-break a bone, the process of that, going through that, is actually more painful than the original break. And the healing may take even a little longer, but it heals thoroughly. And you become stronger in the end. And it's been about, well, I'm 46 and I started about 40, so it's been about 6.5 years that I've been on my healing journey, and it was completely racking at times, but I can honestly say this end of it, that it's been worth it. And so I don't ever tell somebody, yeah, you need to heal, you should go into healing. That is a very personal choice, because it takes a lot of courage. I got to that point where I was tired of dealing with some of the things I was dealing with in myself, and I was frustrated with it, and I wanted to be stronger. And not only did God show me that I would be healed, but that I would have the ability to help others in their journey, to show them the path I've taken, and maybe some stepping stones that would help them along the way. And so, to me, it was worth it for that reason alone. And of course, you do really want to be stronger. I never, ever, ever could have ever imagined how difficult the healing process for myself would be, and what I would discover about myself. It was just incredible, phenomenal. So, one of the first things that I would suggest, and I started out on my own, I started out without a therapist, but then about a few months into it, I was recommended that I would go and find a therapist, and I followed up on that.